Hi, and welcome to week 3 of Design Thinking for Social Innovation. My name is Katie Crumick, and I am the instructor for the course. This is the launch video for week 3. We also have the week 3 lecture. And the purpose of the launch video is just to help you get oriented to the assignments that you have for week 3, the readings, the lecture, and also more specifically, the design work that you're going to be doing on your project using the frameworks that are laid out for you in your mural board. So stay tuned, and I'm going to go in depth into each of those frameworks and what the expectations are for those frameworks. And we'll go over the assignments. But in the meantime, I also want to encourage you, please reach out over email if you have any questions or concerns or are confused as you're working through this class. And also, I don't have specific office hours scheduled, but if you want to meet and talk about your work or have questions about the class or want to talk more about the content of the class, please do not please do not hesitate to reach out to me, and we can find a time that works for both of us to meet. And so now we'll talk about the assignments. In terms of assignments, you have a couple of readings here. And they all kind of line up with either the lecture for the week or the kind of design work that you're going to be doing. There are a couple of videos to watch, as well as the lecture and this launch video, which I'll link here in a moment. And then your assignments for this week are to continue to participate online. Everybody's doing a great job with that, as well as meet up with your peer mentor team and complete a quiz. The quiz is really not graded based on content. It's just a way for us to track that you have, in fact, met with your group. And then the design frameworks for the week. So I'm going to jump over to that. So hopefully you have completed week 2, which was kind of all about setting context. And week 3, you're going to engage a relevant stakeholder to learn more about the problem that you're working on. A couple of tips about Mural. One, when you click on these frameworks, you may see this little lock sign. That's correct. So I've kind of laid out the board for you and I've locked it down. And the way to use this is to bring things in on top. So if you go over to this menu on the left, you click on that, you can bring out Post-it notes. And if I zoom in, you can bring in Post-it notes, you can change the size, you can type things in here. You can also bring in text that you can write right on top. And that way you'll be able to kind of keep track of what you're doing. Maybe you're going to talk with Jim or Maria. So you can track what you're doing and kind of respond to the frameworks by kind of laying things on top of them. And you can also lay on top of them, different icons or maybe images. You can search for images. So like I can search for myself, see what comes up. Here I am. Or actually, this is a picture of students in a space that I worked on. And there's another student actually. Oh, there I am. Here I am. So you can bring in pictures from the internet. You can also upload pictures that you've taken. So if the person you're interviewing has agreed and you've taken their picture, you could put their picture here as well to help remind you of who you spoke with. So you add all those things on top of the framework. And I've gotten some questions about that. So just wanted to clarify that piece. And then you can also go ahead and select and delete. And because the
framework is locked down, it won't get deleted. The other thing you can do with this is if you double click, it will open a PDF that you can download or print, if that would be useful to you. The other thing to note is that I've included some resources. So this is a resource from the design firm IDEO. It is a free guide about design research ethics. So you can double click on that, enter your information, and get that content. You can double click on this Google Doc, which I've developed, and it will give you an email template and a way to approach people who you're going to interview. And then there are also demos of video that I conducted with a colleague named Halima, who's based in Mombasa in Kenya. And if you double click on this,
thank you so much.
It will start playing these demo videos. So those are kind of all the resources around the interviews. As I go into much more detail in the lecture about how to conduct the interviews, I just want to remind everyone again that we want you to only interview someone that you either know personally or who has kind of a forward-facing role, who's accustomed to speaking to people about the issue at hand, or someone that you're personally introduced to. But we want to stay kind of within your network for your first interview, and just ensure that you have that kind of trust already as you're getting used to this practice of interviewing, so that you have some space to try things out. And if they don't go as planned, you have, again, that relational trust. So for instance, if you're working on houselessness as an issue, we ask you that you do not approach a stranger on the street. We want to, again, until you have more practice and more guidance and more support, avoid engaging with vulnerable populations and other folks that don't know you well. So that's a big kind of remember for this week. Here's some information also about interviewing. It's all kind of reinforcing everything that was in the lecture. Here's an interview guide where I've given some kind of general questions that might help you get a feel for the kinds of questions that you're going to ask. Then you kind of select what are the main questions that you want to talk about and take notes from everything that you hear from the person. If you, again, want to photograph or record the person, please get their permission in advance. And if that seems to make them uncomfortable, then I would just recommend taking notes. But you want to try and take notes of quotations and really specific things that you hear from folks. And then you're going to do some synthesis of what you heard into a point of view statement, which again, I talk about a lot in the lecture, but it's a way to kind of narrow in on an important thing that you heard, a piece of evidence, and then make an inference about why that's important to the problem that you're working on. And this, you end up with kind of a problem statement that will help to guide the rest of your design work. And that is it. There's some criteria for a great point of view statement here. And by the end of week 3, hopefully you've accomplished the interview and done a little bit of synthesis, and then we'll jump into week 4.